Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock. Happy Tuesday evening to you all. So guys, it's been a long day between moving, between so many things. But anyway, I wanted to chime in with you all for a little bit. And I wanted to converse with you all about, have you healed? Most importantly, have you healed properly? And sometimes we can just say so quickly, yes, I've healed, I've healed. And sometimes we don't really realize, the magnitude of fully healing. That's a process. And truth be told, for many people, it's a lifelong process. So it's really about, first and foremost, recognizing that you need to be healed from trauma. And of course, that can stem from so many things. That can stem from, bad relationships, bad childhood foundation, such as abuse in all ways, sexual, verbal, physical, abandonment issues, father's issues, mother issues. And so there are so many different ways that we as people are damaged. And, I don't think a lot of people realize this, but you actually have more damaged people than not. It's just that it's in different ways. Some people may be damaged from, relationship issues. They've been hurt in the marriage or whatever, cheated on. They're damaged that way. Where someone else may be suffering from a father wound. Let it be a female. She doesn't trust men, or instead she decides to go, well, I won't get into the other side, but or it could be a guy whose father wasn't there, and he's suffering from anger issues, and just there, it branches off. One situation can branch off in so many directions. So I've encountered people, for example, you know someone who, the mother got caught up in the crack era, and so the mother was a crackhead, right? Respectfully. And then she may have had two children. I'm just using this as an example. She may have had two children. The two children are non-adults, but they experience, everything in that childhood that the mother went through. And so one of the children has now gone on with life, and life is great, married, and everything's great, right? To society standards. And they have never in their life touched alcohol, never in their life touched a cigarette, a blunt, anything. They are so against any drugs, any alcohol, because they saw the damage that it caused within their mother early on. So they vowed to never, ever, ever, ever want to even incorporate that in their adult life. Where you have the other child in that same household who may have gotten immune to it, and who may have just took on the habits of the parent, and now may be addicted to weed, addicted to alcohol, because it is what they're used to. And so you have two people that's wanting to bash each other's head because they don't understand. Well, why would you do it? Listen, we can't say why. Some of that stuff is tied up in different things that we don't know about, So it just goes to show how one situation can branch off into different scenarios. But at the end of the day, it's all trauma. It's all wounded, And so many times people don't even realize that they need healing. They need to take a season of isolation, a season of singleness, men and women, to heal. Tap into the trauma. Tap into, why are you that way? Sit back and look at all your relationships or all your marriages or whatever it may be, and ask yourself, am I the common denominator? Did everybody say the same thing about me? Right? And it's not a good feeling. It's not. But when you're ready to heal, things have to be, confronted. And that's not always something that feels good. In fact, it feels very, very raw. But if you're going to get whatever it is that God has for you, rewind what God has for you, you have to uproot these things and heal. Because God is not going to release any of his blessings to someone who is still damaged, even if it wasn't your fault. God, and trust me, God will deal with, the one who's caused the harm in whatever way. But until God can get you to a place where you recognize that you need to be healed, he's going to hold your blessings. You know, I mean, it really makes sense. I mean, it doesn't make sense if you're impatient and you feel like, well, no, there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with me. And you got some people out here. I know many people, especially a lot of older people, because they're set in their ways. But some of them are the most damaged individuals, and they will argue you down, honey. Ain't nothing wrong with me. It's her. It's him. I'm good. Their problem. My problem. Boo, we're all the problem. We're all the problem. Like, we're all the problem. Come on now. Like, we all have something that we need to work on and that we need to heal. And to me, that makes the best relationships. When both people can come together and sit down and be like, listen, these are my flaws. Okay. This is your flaws. Now let's come together to see how we can work around these things, work with them together, help each other grow. This one doesn't take it personal because I already knew in advance that you're crazy when it comes to this. Like, to me, that is so beautiful. But when you put two people together and when they're just meeting, it's like, oh no, I'm so perfect. Life is perfect. Oh, I'm perfect. Really? Okay. So we got two perfect people sitting here. No one has any areas to heal. Okay. Well, you sit here with your perfect, pretty little self. But anyway, guys, so I just want to encourage those of you who needs healing. Okay. Again, you first have to recognize the problem. If the person or yourself does not recognize that there are areas that are damaged and you're not ready, because see, you have to be ready. Because if you're not ready, every time someone tries to convict you, or even if God tried to convict you, you're going to shut it down. And so in order for healing to begin, you have to recognize it. Once you recognize it, then that gives you leeway to open up and expose some things that will not feel good, but expose some things. But then you give God, space to work with. And then he'll start sending people into your life who have either mastered that area of healing or who may have never been damaged in that area. And then that person will in turn set a great example for yourself. And then you kind of take notes, and it's going to feel really weird and really raw at the beginning because you're not used to that. This person may be full of peace. When you go to their house, their marriage is peaceful and everything is in perfect order. It's a perfect parent. Well, there's no perfect marriage or perfect anything, but you know what I mean. It's calm. It's peaceful. And here you came from... You came from the hood. Everybody's crazy. The crackheads in the front yard. No disrespect. The crackheads in the front yard. You might hear gunshots at night. You may have listen. You came from all that nonsense, and all you know is defense mode. All you know is survivor mode. You don't know anything about peace. And now God put you in a place where there's an individual who you admire or respect, and God is using that person as an example, but it's raw. And you're sitting there like, I'm bored. Where's the drama? Where is the... And you're really thinking that that's normal. And it's not normal. It's not as well as what you're used to, but that's not how it should be. It may be normal to you, but that's not how it should be. God is about peace, respect, understanding. Doesn't mean it's perfect, but it's peace. So you have to ask yourself, are you ready to put the work in? Because it's work. It's work. It may be a lifetime of work for some, but it's worth it. It may be a ongoing progress. But the more and more you get exposed to peace, the more and more you get exposed to people who can take you higher, people who are in a different mindset than what you're used to, guess what? It becomes normal at that level. The same way it became normal in the foolishness. It now has become normal. So you want that. And let me tell you something about peace, honey. If you've never really experienced peace, when you finally get a taste of peace, and when you finally realize that peace is a choice, and you are intentional about creating peace, no one on the face of this earth can cause you to go back to that level. Because peace is so peaceful. So the truth of the matter is that when you have people around you where maybe you at one point, like, you really associated with that drama and that nonsense and it was normal. Now, when you see these people again, like, you still love them because, I mean, they're family, they're friends, they're whatever. But when they're around you, you're almost ready to get off the phone. You're almost ready to now open your door, whatever the situation may be. You don't even want it around you. And then you start to feel bad because it's like, oh my God, but I was once that person. That's okay. God delivered you from that. So now you have to learn how to sustain that peace. And when you have perfected it, then God will send you back to grab the ones who are ready. Rewind, who are ready. We keep trying to force things on people who are not ready because they don't want it. So you're watering that grass. So the whole key is to go back and people who are already, the key is to go back and get people who are ready. Next, I want to say this. Especially in our community, the African American community, all this family secret, right, is what keeps a lot of people stuck. And I'm not saying anybody to go and do this and expose that person. I'm not saying that. If that's how you feel, do what you do, boo. But my point is, do what helps you. If that's counseling, because in our community, counseling is really not something that a lot of us do. In fact, you will have people want to keep sweeping things under the rug 50 years later, generational curses, and you're sitting here inside burning up. You're sitting in here filled with toxins like cancer because everybody else has threatened you to keep things. And if you want to do that, that's fine. Maybe you want to keep things, in solitude with the family, whatever, do what you do. But you have to find what works for you. Is that counseling? Is that keeping the family, quote unquote, safe, but you need counseling? Is that keeping the family safe, but you need to go and maybe sit down with a group of children who are in the orphanage and just maybe use your name as not your name, but use your situation as an example, but make it seem like it's more of a fairy tale in the book that you read, or use it, oh, my friend or that person, someone I know went through this, whatever. As long as it leaves your soul, as long as it leaves your spirit, as long as you're cleansed from it, write it down, journal, do whatever. But never, ever, ever allow anyone to try to make you keep your testimony in. So figure out what works for you. Again, you got to figure out what works for you. There's a magnitude of things out here. Google it, research it. Most importantly, pray about it. Ask God how to lead you to get the toxins from you. Sometimes God will, guide you, and sometimes that means pulling you away from all those people. Where I know some people who were able to forgive and then they can still be in the same room. They said they're forgiven completely in their heart and there's nothing there. There's no, that little feeling of, and I think that's beautiful if you can get to that point. But then there are some people who have to forgive for their own sanity and their own healing, but you can't look back. I can't be in a room with you because it's going to put me there. So you have to figure out what works for you without allowing society, family, whoever to tell you what works for you in order for you to expel these toxins, these generational curses, these secrecies, all this nonsense. Hell, if you got to move to another country just because you want to be free and you don't feel like you can be free because of whatever reason. The point is, I'm not saying move to another country. The point I'm trying to make is do what works for you. And if that means you have to walk in isolation, you walk in isolation because that's your peace. There's nothing like peace in being free. And when you're able to break free, that's when God will start to show you, again, certain things, and you will start to heal, of course. And once you start your healing process, then that is when God will send you everything and everyone that He has designed for you. These were always the original plans, the original people, but they've been on hold. It has been on hold because He needs you to heal first and get to that place. So sometimes when we feel like our blessing is taking too long, or this is taking too long, and oh my God, I'm going to be 70 when I get married. Well, If it takes you 70 years to heal, it is what it is. But guess what? After 70, so if you live to be 100, from 70 to 100 will be the best years of your life, because the peace you will experience from God's blessing and the things that God has for you will override any toxic relationship, toxic marriage, nonsense, foolishness, soul tie, all that stuff that you may have had in your past. It will override everything. So your second half sometimes will be better than your first. So guys, do what works for you. Please don't let society, please don't let friends or family or generational curses and family secrets keep you in bondage. Pray about it. Do what works for you. If you're the only one walking your road alone, walk alone. Write your own story, your own happiness. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.